Good evening, students. We're going to start a subject. So, data structures using C++. Data structures using C++. C++. Okay. So, today's topic is on algorithms. Algorithms, flowchart, and pseudocode. Algorithms, flowchart, and pseudocode. Pseudocode. So, what is an algorithm and what is a flowchart and pseudocode? Okay, we are going to learn about all those things. So, first, what is an algorithm? Algorithms. So, what is an algorithm? So, first question raised is what is an algorithm? What is an algorithm? How to write an algorithm? Okay, so this is the first question raised actually. So we can define an algorithm. How to define an algorithm? So algorithm is a nothing but a step by step. Okay, so it is a step by step procedure. Step by step procedure. It is a step by step procedure. Okay, so it is nothing but it is a step by step procedure which defines a set of instructions to be executed. Set of instructions to be executed in a certain order. In a certain order. Okay, in a certain order. To get the desired output. To get the desired output. Okay, understood. So what is an algorithm? Algorithm is a step by step procedure. Actually, it's a step by step procedure. It's a step by step procedure which defines a set of instructions to be executed in a certain order to get the desired output. Okay, in certain order it has to execute. So algorithm is a step by step procedure which defines a set of instructions to be executed, okay, in a certain order to get the desired output. In a certain order to get the desired output. So algorithms are generally created independent of underlying language. That is, an algorithm can be implemented in more than one programming language. Algorithm can be implemented in more than one programming language. Okay, so we can write like this. Sorry, algorithm okay, are generally created independent of underlying language of an underlying languages. That is, an algorithm can be implemented in more than one programming language. It can implemented in more than one programming language. More than one programming language. Okay, so this one. So algorithms are nothing but it is a step-by-step procedure which defines a set of instructions to be executed in a certain order. To execute a certain steps in a certain order, we need to use an algorithm. So algorithms are generally created independent of underlying languages. So that is, an algorithm can be implemented in more than one programming language. In more than one programming language, we can implement an algorithm. So what all things we consider in this? First is search, that is algorithm to search algorithm to search an item in a data structure. And then second one is sort. Second one is sort algorithm to sort items in a certain order. To sort items in a certain order we are using. Or third one, insert algorithm to insert item in a data structure. Update algorithm to update an existing item in a data structure. We can use an algorithm to update algorithm to update an existing item in a data structure. And then fifth one is delete. Algorithm to delete an existing item from a data structure. Okay, so these are all the different categories of an algorithm. So we can write an algorithm for searching, we can write an algorithm for sorting, we can write an algorithm for insert, we can write an algorithm for delete, or we can write an algorithm for update also. So if you're writing an algorithm for searching, algorithm to search an item in a data structure, so you have to write an algorithm to sort an items in a certain order. Or if you want to write an algorithm to insert an item in a data structure, or you can update an algorithm to update an existing item in a data structure, or you can write an algorithm to delete an existing item in a data structure. So these all things are possible using an algorithm. Okay, so you can write an algorithm once. So what is an algorithm? Algorithm is nothing but it is a step-by-step procedure which defines a set of instructions to be executed. Like before writing any program, we need to look for an algorithm. Okay, so before writing any programming code, we need to search for an algorithm. So based on this algorithm, you can easily write a program. So we can say that before writing a program, we have to look into for algorithm. So algorithm can act as a blueprint for a program. Okay, so what are the different characteristics we are having in an algorithm? You'll see the different characteristics of an algorithm. So what are the different types of characteristics of an algorithm? What are the different types of characteristics of an algorithm? So what are the different types of characteristics we are having? So first one is unambiguous. First one is unambiguous. So what do you mean by unambiguous? Okay. So what do you mean by unambiguous? Algorithm should be clear and unambiguous. Okay, it should be clear and unambiguous. Okay. So let's see. Algorithm should be clear and unambiguous. Okay, so algorithm whatever you are writing, it should be clear and unambiguous means without error. Okay, it should be without any error. Okay, so each of its steps and their input output should be clear and must be read to only one meaning. Okay, So this is algorithm should be clear and unambiguous. This is the first step. We can say that is it should be clear, right? Second one is input. Input should be there in it. Input. An algorithm should have zero. Algorithm should have zero or more well-defined inputs. Okay, more well-defined inputs. So it should be another should have zero or more well-defined inputs. At least there should be zero or more than that. Okay, in it. Next, third point, output. An algorithm should have one or more well-defined outputs. It should have more than one well-defined outputs. And fourth point, finiteness. It should be finiteness. That is, algorithms must terminate after finite number of steps. Finite number of steps. So it has to terminate after a finite number of steps. Okay, so that is finiteness. Next, independent. It should be independent also. An algorithm should have step by step. An algorithm should have step by step directions. Step by step directions. It should be independent. It should be independent of any programming code. Okay, so it should be independent of any programming code. So these are all the different characteristics of an algorithm. First, it should be an unambiguous, and unambiguous means it should be without any errors and it should be clear. Next, input. An algorithm should have zero or more well-defined inputs. And output. An algorithm should have one or more well-defined outputs also. Finiteness. Algorithm must terminate after finite number of steps. After finite number of steps, it has to terminate. Then independent. So an algorithm should have step-by-step directions which should be independent of any programming code. Okay. Later. So there is all the different types of characteristics of an algorithm. Okay. So we'll write an algorithm now. How to write an algorithm? Design an algorithm to add two numbers and display the result. Now I'll write a algorithm on adding a two numbers and displaying the result. Okay. So an algorithm to add two numbers and display the result. Algorithm to add two numbers and display the result. Algorithm to add two numbers and display the result. Okay, so we'll write this one. Step 1, start. Step 2, declare three integers a comma b and c. Step 3, define values of a and b. Define values of a and b. Step 4, add values of a and b. Step 5, store output of step 4 to C. Step 6, print C, print C. Step 7, stop. Okay, so this is an algorithm. So like this, we are having 7 steps in it to add 2 numbers. So in step 1, first we need to write a start. In step 2, declare 3 integers a, b, and c. And step 3, define values of a and b. In step 4, add values of a and b. So whatever the values we have given for a and b in step 3, we are going to add those two values a and b. In step 5, store the output of step 4. Okay, whatever the output we got in step 4, that we are going to store it in C. Okay, store the output of step 4 to C. Now print C. Okay, now we are printing the C. And then step 7, stop. So this is an algorithm to write to add two numbers and display the result. So this is an algorithm to write. So only thing is that we are having to start and stop. Okay, at starting we have to write a start. In step 2, step 3, step 4 are the normal, like declaring 3 integers a, b, and c. Define the values of a and b. Add values of a and b. In step 5, store output of step 4 to c. Then print c. So this is simple. Anyone can write this algorithm. So by seeing this one, we have to write a program. So this is an algorithm. Okay, it's a basic question. They might ask this. What is an algorithm? And write an algorithm, they will ask. Write an algorithm to add two numbers and display the result. Okay, so this is an algorithm. Okay, so next is pseudocode. How can we define a pseudocode? So what is pseudocode and how we are going to define a pseudocode? So pseudocode, pseudocode. 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 So how can we define a pseudocode? Pseudocode is an informal tool that you can use to plan out your algorithm. Okay, so pseudocode, what is in pseudocode? Pseudocode is an informal tool that you can use to plan out your algorithm. Okay, so if you want, you can plan this one, plan out your algorithm. Pseudocode is an informal tool. It is an informal tool that you can use to plan out your algorithm. Okay, you can plan out your algorithms. So how can we think of pseudocode? Pseudocode is nothing but a step-by-step. Okay, it is a step-by-step outline of your code. Right. So pseudocode is nothing but it is an information that you can use to plan out your algorithms. For plan out your algorithm is similar to algorithm only. So there is so many definitions for pseudocode. So more after this we can more write pseudocode like Pseudocode is a step-by-step. Pseudocode is a step-by-step verbal outline of your code. That so it is also a step-by-step, but it is a verbal outline code. So whereas algorithm is not a verbal outline, it is a step-by-step procedure. So here pseudocode is nothing but it's a step-by-step verbal outline of your code that you can gradually transcribe that you can gradually transcribe into programming language. Okay, you can transcribe into programming language. So many programmers use it to plan out the function of an algorithm before setting themselves to the more technical task of coding. So pseudocode serves as an informal guide, a tool for thinking through program problems and a communication device that can help you explain your ideas to other people. Okay. So pseudocode is an intermediate step in programming in between the initial planning stage and the stage of writing the actual and executable code. So good pseudocode can become a okay. So how to write a good pseudocode? Okay. So we'll write one pseudocode here. Example of pseudocode. Okay. So first read name. Like if you want to write only one. Right. So if you want to calculate the gross salary of an employee, how you are going to write an example on pseudocode? So first you are going to mention read name, hourly rate, comma, hourly rate, hours worked, hours worked, deduction rate, okay, and then deduction rate. Deduction rate. Next, gross pay is equal to hourly hourly rate into hourly rate into hours worked. Hours worked. Okay, that is an gross pay. In third step, you are going to deduction. Deduction is equal to gross pay into deduction rate. Deduction rate. Okay, next fourth one, net pay is equal to gross pay minus deduction. Okay, this one. Next fifth one, write name gross pay deduction net pay. Okay, so this is an sample, like we are writing a list, how to write a list. So while you are going for grocery shop, the same thing is like pseudocode. Pseudocode is nothing but writing a list. Okay, it can be verbal outline of your code. So just you're saying, okay, what all things you want in your program. So for example, I want to write a program on a pay scale of an employee. Then what all things I'm going to say in first step, I will say that read name, hourly rate, hours worked, deduction rate. Okay, hourly rate, how many hours he has worked, hourly rate is how much, and hours worked, and deduction rate. Next, gross pay is equal to, I will say that gross pay is equal to calculate hourly rate into hours worked, I will say. In third step, I will say deduction is equal to gross pay into deduction rate. Next, fourth line, I will say net pay is equal to gross pay minus deduction. Okay, so from gross pay minus deduction. Next, at fifth step, I will say write name, gross pay, deduction, and total net pay. So these all things will be considered as an pseudocode. Okay, so we'll end our class here today, and tomorrow we're going to continue with another topic.